for themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being with me. You can get involved by calling 888-77-53-773, 888-77 Jesse. How was your weekend? I hope it was well. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show, jesseleepeterson.com/show. And also, if you're busy this morning, and some people are, all depending on where you are in the world, you could still listen to the show while you're doing what you're doing by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500, 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on cozy.tv/JLP, cozy, COZY.tv/JLP. And JLP Talk on Twitter, or better known now as X. Like, follow, ring the bell, and blah, blah, blah. We dealt with the biblical question yesterday from last week in the fellowship. If you were not there, I would encourage you to podcast by going to rebuildingtheman.com/church, rebuildingtheman.com/church, and check it out. It was amazing. We dealt with, do you know any unfortunate or disadvantaged people? And apparently nobody does. So I guess disadvantaged or unfortunate people does not exist. And that is true, because if you take control of your own life and you're in charge of your own life, no one can stop you, whatever that means. But if you're a groupie or you don't think for yourself, then you don't have control. And that's because of you and no one else. It's on you. It's up to you. It has nothing to do with your color, male or female, whatever life you want in life. You take control of your life and just live it, you'll be fine. So check it out at rebuildingtheman.com/church. And don't forget, for your donate and have your comments read out loud, your super chats, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, and Bond JLP on Cash App. Bond JLP Talk on Cash App. So a brand new biblical question. Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Isn't that an amazing question? Yes, Jesse, that is an amazing question. So I was watching a little portion of 60 Minutes last night. I don't normally watch 60 Minutes anymore because you don't know what's true or not at all anymore on 60 Minutes. And they were showing this, one of the stories was about what's happening over in Israel. Apparently, they are holding these rallies in Israel, and they don't like Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu. And I happen to think that he and Trump would make perfect presidents. But anyway, they don't like him over there because he is trying to change. It looked like, and I don't know the whole story, maybe some of you guys out there in the world know what's happening in Israel right now, but it seemed like he's changing some of the orders of the high courts over there so that the courts just can't change the rules like that if they don't agree with something. But what was interesting about it that caught my attention, it reminds me of the rallies and things they hold over here. And because over there, they want the homosexual rights and all kind of rights, and that let me know that it's wrong. So I don't know all the details that's happening in Israel, but it sounds like the liberal Jews are trying to make things go their way, and the conservative Jews wanted to go their way. And it seems like it's the same kind of fight going on, especially when they want women's rights, they want gay rights, they want all other kind of crazy stuff they were talking about. I don't know what's true or what's not because 60 Minutes, you cannot know now what part of that is true. But if y'all have an idea what's going on in Israel, let me know. Let me know. Another story, too, is I saw this is on the news this morning. There are train loads of illegal aliens coming here from Mexico and other places right now. Just loads and loads, boxcars of illegal aliens coming in. My country is being overtaken. It really is. And it's not by force. It's being welcomed by the government. And it is a mess. It is a mess as to what's happening in America. Now, do you believe me when I tell you that my country is not coming back? The spiritual battle is on. It's on now. It's a mess. The government, according to one news report, the government is changing the rules about how the representatives can dress. They have downgraded the dress code because of that. It appeared to be because of that one guy from Philadelphia or somewhere that liked to wear short pants and a hoodie. Well, he want to wear that to work to the White House every day. And so they have changed the rule so that this one man and anyone else now, John Fetterman, can wear short pants, gym shoes, and a hood to work. Can you believe they voted to do that? But if you visit, you have to dress up, they say. My country is gone, folks. It's not unusual now to see people traveling in pajamas and dirty pillows and there's no class at all. We now live in a classless country. It's nothing like it was when I was growing up. We live in a classless country. It's not unusual anymore to see women and young girls dressing like prostitutes, desperate for the love of a father. And it's also not unusual now to see women taking over everything. And they're not taking it by force, it's being given to them. How will the country come back if you allow them to be set up with all the wrong people in the right places to make sure it never returns? What a mess, huh? And the men need to get involved and start running for office. And if you go to protest, the best way to do it is to get involved. Not out there just screaming like the women do, but to run for something. The most dangerous place for a man today is in the workforce, in the workplace, where women are running. It's more dangerous for a man in the workplace when women are running than it is for an unborn baby in the belly of a woman. And that's a dangerous place nowadays. Amazing how evil is trying to conquer good, and it using all the right people who are wrong in order to bring it in. All the wrong people in the right places. Did you hear that this weekend, I guess, was Rosh Hashanah? That was on Saturday. That's a Jewish holiday, I'm being told. It's a Jewish New Year festival. Oxford is reporting that Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year festival. Watch this from Inside Edition.
Rosh Hashanah is one of my favorite days of the whole year. It's a holiday on the Jewish calendar that begins usually around the fall months, where you blow shofar, this ram's horn, and you make a sound punctuating the year saying, we're going to begin again. Rosh Hashanah is actually a 2-day holiday, and I take from that I have so much to celebrate and actually so much to let go of from the year that just ended that it takes some time. The most common way that people observe Rosh Hashanah doesn't happen in the synagogue, it happens at home. And the meal right before the holiday begins is the gathering of friends and family, and there are various traditions including taking pieces of an apple and dipping it in honey and saying, may the year be sweet like this. The greeting for Rosh Hashanah, if you see someone who's in that zone, is you say, Shana Tova, may it be a good year. The extended version of that is Lishana Tova Tikatevu V'Techatemu. May you be written and inscribed for a good year, because one of the metaphors on Rosh Hashanah is that God has a book of life. And my biggest prayer for everybody, especially me, I guess, is that I be written in for one more year of life. And so my wish for you when I see you is that you have that blessing too.
Amazing. So I didn't know on Saturday there was Jewish New Year festival. Isn't that amazing? Did you know that, Hassan? Are you like a real Jew, or?
I did, yeah.
So you knew about it?
I did.
Did you participate?
I did. We blew the shofar horn, like with that horn that man was blowing there at the end.
Right.
We did a little shofar blowing. And that's why I'm observing actually today. That's why I'm in the blue. This is the Jewish blue.
And so it's still going on today? It wasn't just Saturday and Sunday?
It was, but I'm now observing on the weekday.
What?
I'm observing also on the Monday workday.
Why?
I don't know.
Even though it was just 2 days?
Yeah.
So are you doing that because you just learned how to be a Jew? What the?
Exactly. I'm trying to stretch it out. I'm maxing it out.
And when you say we blew the horn, you went somewhere and did it with other Jews or something?
Yeah, there was a rabbi, and he had his daughters, and they were reading from the Torah, and he blew the shofar for like 2.5 minutes, and I was like, don't pass, because it's kind of a strenuous thing to be doing, like, over time. So I was like hoping he wasn't gonna pass out, but he said, no, for you to make sure the new year, we have to do it right.
So you went to a Jewish church?
Well, where I live, there's a lot of synagogues and a lot of Jewish schools. So this was just kind of outside one of those things.
That's amazing. Amazing. So I didn't know it. Well, happy Jewish festival to the Jews. Happy New Year. Jewish New Year. Amazing. So this is still 2023 or 2024 for them?
That's a good question. I don't know that.
Oh, okay. 'Cause when we celebrate New Year, it's because 1 year ended and another one began. But they're like in the middle of the year.
What?
Amazing. And do you know what the fight is, the protest all about over there in Israel? Are you familiar with that?
Oh, no, sir.
Oh, okay. Amazing. What a mess. A spiritual battle, the same problem all around the world. Either you're of good or you are of evil. You can't be both. You're either one or the other, and the battle is on. Evil is working desperately to take over the world. And because most people have not changed in their hearts, evil is taking over the world. What a mess. Let me go to Greg out of Florida. 888-775-3773. Greg, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up this morning, Jesse? How are you doing, sir?
All is well, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir.
Good.
I was driving to work this morning. My ego died a little bit more. It was painful, but...
and why? How you know it died?
Well, I know it was... I don't mean it completely died. I'm just saying I could feel it dying because it wanted me to react to something that happened negative.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want what happened to happen, but it did. So, you just sit in those moments because I'm used to overreacting over that. I get mad and blame myself and curse and act a fool. And I didn't do that. I mean, I could feel the pain inside of me because I could feel that spirit wanting to get me frustrated and angry, mad and to lash out. But, to sit there still that takes a lot of discipline, it seems like.
It does, but the more you catch the pain like that, the weaker it becomes. So continue to practice catching it. And it's the light that allows you to see it, and the light is destroying the darkness. And it is going to getting weaker and weaker until it disappears.
Yeah, I noticed in my life, since I've been listening to you, and you've pointed us back to the truth of to face ourselves and to ask questions, and once you start doing that, I can see that spirit's weaker and weaker. It gets weaker, but I can, the spirit will tell you, oh, this ain't working. You're getting mad. Look how angry you feel right now.
Yeah.
This ain't no good for you. You need to give up on God. And it'll tell you all this stuff. And as soon as you believe it, he's got you again. Because your body will feel all that pain. You'll get miserable feeling again. But if you'll bring yourself back to the present moment and say, hey, I can't control life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's amazing, I just needed to go through that so the ego would die.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, stay with it. I don't care how painful it gets, how hard the vibrations are. You stay with it. Just watch it, and it is dying for sure.
I seen my ex is the mother to two of my kids, the one that I told you got remarried.
Yes.
She left her kids this week and ran to another state to be with that man because he was in a car wreck and totaled his car. Well, you know, I get, and I'm just bringing this up because I'm able to see it now. I was told constantly that I was a sorry daddy, I was no good, I was angry, you don't care about your kids, but she can do that and she'll tell herself she's a good mom while leaving her kids behind. And it's just crazy.
And it's just what now? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's crazy to me how you can see the other person's problems and you'll point them out while completely doing the same thing you're pointing out on the other person.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What a mess. And so,
it is
were you able to be with the kids?
So I got my son, my youngest, my 3-year-old. He always comes to stay with me because he says he loves me and he wants to be with me. And I try to teach him things now. My two oldest are with the first ex, and she's keeping them because those two women they like to lie at each other constantly, you know, so they don't have to face stuff and they make each other feel good. I know because I used to do that kind of stuff. You try to surround yourself.
You have, with your first wife, you have 2 kids, right?
First one, I had one. I have a 9-year-old boy. And the second woman, I had 2 kids, a girl and a boy.
And those are the ones you're not able to see, or the first one?
The first one's a mama's boy. He didn't want nothing to do with me.
Okay. And so the second wife that has 2 kids, you're able to see them?
I'm able to see the youngest, but the little girl doesn't want anything to do with me.
How old is
not
she?
Right now. 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the boy is 3 and the girl is 6.
Yes, and my oldest is 9.
Oh, okay. Have you been able to let go of that now, or it still bother you?
No, that's why this time when I told you I didn't have that. Like last time I told you I cried over it, or I got emotional and teared up over it.
Yeah.
The more I face it and the more I can see there's nothing I can do about it, you still once in a while have that body pain. You know, you'll feel your eyes maybe water. You don't cry, but you'll feel your eyes water up and you'll get emotional about it. But, you know, it gets less and less every time I deal with it. But, you know, I can't, like you said, you really can't just run to something to make yourself feel better. You just got to say, okay, this is what I got to do. And, you know, it is what it is. I love those kids and they'll come back when they're ready.
Yeah. The good thing about this situation that's happening with you, it gives you a chance to really overcome the world, meaning overcome anything that was so important to you that it can make you feel any kind of way. And that includes your kids, your family, your friends, your whatever, co-workers, what the world, money, whatever it is.
Material items. Yeah, I used to worship material items a lot.
And that way, when you get past this, you'll have the right relationship with it. It won't be as an identity. It will just be something that you use in the earth, but it won't be your identity. Then you'll be fine.
Well, it's like normally whenever something like that would happen, I would lose my kids or something happened to material things or something, you know, I would find myself, you know, doing that, oh, poor, pitiful me, and then I would feel sorry for myself, and then I would sit around and pout about it, and I would, you know, and now that I'm, the other day I said to myself, you know, I said, I know it's supposed to be happening like it is, and I said, I'm just going to take this time that I don't have with my kids, and instead of running to something else, I'll sit in the pain of it. This is a positive thing because this allows me to get myself right so when my kids come back, I can be a perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely. What caused you to get married twice?
Well, I never was married. I had 2 girlfriends. I never was married.
So
I had 3 kids out of red light.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
No, I got with the first woman because I needed a mama. You know, I needed that mama figure to mama me and baby me, and
yeah.
And then I got rid of her because I judged her and thought I was better, and then I went and got with this other woman who played like she was on my side, and she babied me and made me feel good, and she did the same thing. And I realized, what's wrong with me that I'm getting with all these women and I'm letting them take advantage of me, and as soon as they get what they want, they leave.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? I don't care about them. What am I doing wrong?
That's right. Absolutely, man. You are your world, and it's up to you. It's about you and not
Absolutely.
about them.
Well, the world doesn't let us know that anymore. Everybody tells you to, I heard you say on Sunday, you need another wife, you need another girlfriend, you need to buy another car, you need to get another whatever. And as long as you're looking outside to all those material things, you're never seeing, look at what I'm doing here. Like, what's wrong with me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep your eyes on yourself, man, and life will become amazing. It's not about
truly
anyone
believe
else.
that.
It's about you.
Yes, sir. I truly believe it. I really do. I believe that God is with me. I used to doubt that because I'd say, well, if God's with me, why am I feeling this? But I know now that he's with me because he's allowing me to feel it and see what's driving me.
Yeah, that you may overcome the world. Are you doing the silent prayer every morning and night?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
I do it every single minute, every night. Sometimes I drive from different counties in the state I'm in. I run my own business, and in those times, I don't close my eyes, of course, but I drive down the road and I'm looking in front of me, and I just watch how crazy people are acting, flipping each other off and blowing the horn and cussing each other out. And I'm saying, man, this world is sick.
The world gone crazy.
It sure has.
Grandpa tell me about the good old days.
Have you noticed that life is getting worse and worse, Jesse? Like, you buy something. Now, you used to buy air conditioners back when y'all were young, like my parents did. My parents are your age. And we had an air conditioner that lasts 30 years. Now you get 5-6 years out of them, they're trash. Your refrigerator's no good for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, man.
You buy a phone, it's good for a year or two, and it's garbage. You can pay 5 times as much for it.
Yes, everything is just, we now live in a junk country. Service is bad, the people bad, the everything just messed up now. And it's primarily that way because the number one reason is that way because the men are not running in the country anymore. And secondly, the quality of life is being degraded all the time. The children are being brainwashed in the schools, and the churches are weak in that the men are not leading the churches either, and they're not leading the home. And so it can only get worse. It cannot get better.
Christ put the truth in our hearts, Jesse, because he didn't want us deceived by people or the world.
Right. Absolutely.
So everybody out here walking this earth right now, what you're saying is everybody out here understands the truth, but they are afraid to face it.
Well, every human being know the truth, but most don't remember that they know the truth. They are falling for the lie. And when you fall for the lie, it's hard to remember that you know the truth unless you want the truth, and then you start to remember. God will cause you to start to remember. But the truth is in everyone that wants it.
Well, that's why I wonder all the time, Jesse. Like, I would say, why did God choose me to wake up? I always knew the truth, like you said. Like, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And I knew that but I was never afraid of it. I would always say, what's wrong with me? And then I found your video one day, and when you started speaking about this stuff, some of it hurt my feelings to begin with, but I'm like, what? This man's telling me the truth here. Like, what's wrong?
Yeah. Well, stay with it, man. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. It only gets better.
Cool deal, Jesse. Thanks for taking my call today, brother. You have a wonderful day.
All right, buddy. You too. 888-7753-773. 888-77 Jesse. Back in a moment. Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. You know, freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters, it should be anyhow, to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing. Okay, folks, welcome back. There is a line open now at 888-7753, 773-888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. Let me go to Ron out of Texas. Ron, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Uncle Jesse, how's it going?
All is well, Ron.
Sweet home, Alabama. Hey, I just want to ask you, did you grow up near Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
No, I know where it is, but I didn't grow up near there.
Do you know what that name Tuscaloosa means?
No, I don't.
Wow, growing up in Alabama, it means black warrior.
And why is that important to me?
Because you grew up in Alabama. I thought you might have known that. Have you ever heard of Black Warrior River?
Why is that important to me, you say? It
because
can't be just because I grew up in Alabama.
Why can't it be?
Because black people were not into that kind of mess during those days.
Oh, okay. Did you ever heard of Black Warrior River in Alabama?
No.
Wow. That's a river in Alabama called Black Warrior River.
And that's exciting to you?
Yeah, it proved that that there was black Indians in this country, in this continent, way before Christopher Columbus arrived here.
And how does that prove that?
Because it was Tuscaloosa's named Black Warrior.
And so the word black makes you think that Indians were black before the white man got here?
Yeah, Negro.
And you making that up yourself?
Oh, no, you can Google that. You can Google it.
And you believe
and people will.
And you believe because it's on Google?
Yes.
Why aren't you dealing with overcoming rather than dealing with not as a grown man? Why aren't you dealing with real things instead of nonsense things?
I am dealing with real things. What are you talking about?
Talking about a river named Black Warrior is nonsense. It's getting you nowhere in life. It giving you a false sense of feel good because you think that it's proven that the white man didn't discover and build the greatest country on this side of heaven. You waste your life on nonsense stuff. Why don't you realize that as an adult?
Do you know anything about the Black Europeans?
I got to run, buddy. Thank you, Ron. I asked him where you going. He tell me where you been. Amazing. People, they have you distracted. Nobody care about Black River. That's just the name of a river. It doesn't prove anything. And to waste your life on trying to prove that you're better than the white man, it's not going to make you better than the white man. It's not going to change the reality that white people founded and created the greatest country on this side of heaven. It won't change that. just because you get a good feeling out of nonsense stuff. And in the meantime, while men are acting that way, we're losing the country. Why not take what's already been built, what's already is amazing, and build on it? Why are you trying to destroy it and replace it with nothing, with zero? And this is why black men are not worth a dime, because their focus is on the wrong thing. They're trying to prove that the white man didn't do it. And then when they do get in office, like that stupid black mayor in Chicago, everything continued to fall apart. It doesn't make it better. It was being reported this morning. I saw it on some news item this morning that those major businesses, stores, are leaving Chicago because they can't make a profit because of the crime. And the mayor now wants the government to run the stores or something like that, to take over. You know it's over. And Ron, I mean, it's time to get over that ego stuff. You can't try to prove that it's a waste of time. It really, just think about it. Grown people sitting around trying to prove that the white man didn't build this country. It's just a waste. It's at some point, you got to overcome the past because it's an illusion anyway, and stay in the present. How do you call a show to talk about a black river? Because that proved that the Indians were black before the white man got here.
What the?
Fighting over nothing is not going to change the fact of what happened, how this country was discovered, who made it great. Oh, it's a sad way to live. This is why the country is falling apart. This is why the country is falling apart. A grown men fighting over nothing. Life is so much more and better than this. And black people, it's time to stop trying to prove that the white man is superior to you. It's already clear that he is. Super chat. Super.
Super chats.
I'm asking him, what was his name?
Ron.
Ron from Texas or somewhere. Why don't you focus on real life, Ron? Why are you trying to prove that the white man didn't do this and the white man didn't do that and all that mess? You're losing your country. And the white man's still going to be superior to you. Because they're going to go somewhere else and build another place, and you're going to have to follow them because you're not going to be able to stay in Texas. Anyway, Super Chat. Good morning, Super Chatter.
Good morning. Riley JM bought a coffee over on Friday saying, Hake is making me cry with his trying to sound Irish.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man.
Nah. Nice.
Hannes O'Callaghan bought a coffee at that point, too, saying, great accent, Hake. Falling over laughing. I mean, great accent, Hake. Falling over laughing. Before I became a Christian, I did Buddhist... Oh, this is terrible. I shouldn't do this. It's distracting. Before I became a Christian, I did Buddhist meditation for about 2 years. So doing the silent prayer was easy enough, he says. I got a lot of people comparing meditation to silent prayer, too. The big difference is that Buddhists still believe the thoughts and imagination and emotions are still part of them. For most, meditation is about getting a good, relaxed feeling.
Repeat that, the last part.
He said a lot of people comparing meditation to silent prayer. He hears people doing that because he used to do that too. Uh-huh. The big difference is that Buddhists still believe the thoughts and imagination and emotions are still part of them.
Oh, I see.
And for the most part, meditation is just about getting a good, relaxed feeling.
Well, I'm not sure what Buddha believed, but I do know you don't want to meditate on anything. You want to observe. You want to complete, in order to have life, you have to completely let go of the false life, which are the thoughts and the feelings. Really. You want a no-thinking life. Can you imagine living a life without having to think, but just live it? Stay with the observation, stay with it, and keep your mind where your body is, practice that, and eventually that, you don't have to, it will just become natural for you. Amazing, stay with it. Thank you.
C. Andrews 99 in church yesterday asked on YouTube, Bond Rebuilding the Man, how do you deal with losing a loved one in the right way?
How do you deal with did they die or they left?
I assume died.
Assume?
I think it's a fair assumption.
Okay.
He DM'd me on Twitter, so I think it had to do with death.
You have a natural grieve. Let it come and let it go. Don't hold on to it. Let it just come and pass through you. You shed a few tears. Let that happen, and then let it go. Because you don't want to hold on to sorrow for too long, grief. It turns into depression. And then you start to think and feel like you care more than what you really do care, right? Because it's a setup from evil. So let it pass through. It doesn't need to go on for years. Give it a day or two, 3 days at best, and live your life. All right? Thank you.
Evgeny Crosby with a couple of diamonds yesterday in church with JLP. Lauren Boebert and boyfriend are at the theater watching church with Jesse Lee Peterson.
Who is that?
She's a Colorado representative, a Republican Republican U.S. representative from Colorado.
Amazing. Thank you. What the?
There was news about a theater or something.
Okay.
Piotr Robel bought 5 coffees. Thank you, Jesse and team, for the best fellowship on this side of heaven. Amazing Fallen State episode as well. Much love from UK.
Amazing. Thank you.
And I could be butchering his name.
What is his name?
Piotr Robel, Wrobel.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Jaime bought 2 coffees. Hey, Jesse, I have 2 questions. When I do my silent prayer, I sometimes see me being in a relationship with a girl that I am interested in, and I believe she's interested in me too. But the question is, it's not a good idea to ask her out on a date while having a chance to be in a relationship with her? That's a question mark. And the other question is that I have hatred in women because the big M, which you mentioned about that on a sermon called What is Sin? And I stopped that when I was around 25 and went back like a pig back in his mud when I was about 26. Wonder, however, why is that I have hatred for women since I apologized to my mom and dad for resenting them? You follow what I was saying? I censored it a little bit.
So it sounds like, number one, he's interested in a girl that he thinks is interested in him too, right?
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't know if he should ask her out.
Yeah.
And why not?
He didn't say. It came to mind while he was praying, doing the silent prayer.
That he should or should not ask her out.
That he pictures in his mind about being in a relationship with her, and because while he's thinking that, he's questioning whether it's a good idea or not to ask her out.
And how does he know she's interested in him if he have not asked her out?
That's a question for him if he were to call in or
yeah,
request
call
counseling.
Me, because it's not quite clear. How would you know that she's interested in you if you have not asked her out? And as far as hating women, just watch it. If you've gone and forgiven your mother, make sure you do the silent prayer, stay with it, and just have no belief in thoughts at all. And you'll see where you go, because that anger, now that you're aware of it, it will disappear if you have gotten truly forgiven. All right? But stay with, if you're not doing it, you need to call me if you can, because I have follow-up questions before I can just answer that. It's not clear to me. Thank you.
Over on Rumble, Lily Poo bought a Rumble rant saying, if you are not content with yourself, this is from yesterday, as it is, then you will never be content. Won't matter what you add unto it.
Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mac O'Larry bought a coffee. Jesse, did you see the Patriots have the words end racism painted behind their end zones in the football team, NFL football team?
No. I don't watch football.
They've been doing that in soccer, too.
They have what?
End racism painted behind their end zones.
What a mess.
I know. Ridiculous.
Is it all black or something?
It has a lot, the NFL has a lot of blacks in it.
Oh.
Someone bought 3 coffees. Jesse, have you ever seen the movie October Sky? I was watching some of your old videos about father's love and yearning for the father, and I totally understand. I feel this movie depicts it very well. If you haven't seen it, enjoy. Nothing like a father's love, he says.
October Sky. It definitely sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those older movies.
But I don't remember if I've seen it or not. But when I get the time, I'll definitely check it out. Thank you.
And Mr. J bought a coffee. Mr. Sandman and I have been watching The Chosen, and I must say, JLP, when you watch it with spiritual eyes, after you've forgiven your parents and do the silent prayer every day, it takes on a whole deeper meaning. Truly amazing.
It really does. So that's why I'm not sure if the movie is just a well-made movie, or because I see things differently now. Am I just seeing the reality? But it is amazing. What do you think, Hassan?
Yeah, I mean, definitely shout out to Mr. J.
No, I mean about the movie. Is it that we? Do you think it's you're a little
I think
movie producer?
Well, yeah, I think with this one, I know what you're saying. That when you start to wake up, you start to kind of see everything a little different,
right?
And the way that you perceive it. But I think with this, I think sort of like Pope's Exorcist and certain ones, it's a little bit of both. I think obviously the awareness of waking up, but these people are, I think, specifically enlightened too, because there's definitely something different about the writing in The Chosen.
I like the way they put the human part in there. It's so interesting, and then the spiritual part there too, and they both. The spiritual part is set apart from the human part. It's interesting. Thank you. Have you watched a Hake?
I've seen bits of it.
What did you think? What?
I liked some of it. I can't really comment. It's been a while.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna tell Mr. J that Sandman does like watching it as well.
What the? Okay.
Mr. J finishes his coffee by saying, shout out to the newest Jew on the block, Hassan E-Black.
E-Black.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Hannes O'Callaghan bought another coffee. Amazing Sunday service. Jesse, you mentioned that after forgiving comes the valley of death, and then you have a sane mind and an insane mind, and you go from one to the other. I think I'm there now. The crazy side comes out and rampages around, and I watch it all without judgment, and then the sane mind comes forward and cleans up the mess.
Well, what it is, when you welcome the truth in, you now can see the light fighting the darkness. So you see the darkness and you see the light, but you don't identify with the darkness anymore, and you start to overcome it. But when you don't welcome the truth, you only see darkness. You can't see because there's no light, and you only have darkness, and that's it. But it's amazing to see both and know that neither one of them belongs to you, but the Spirit is working on your behalf. Amazing. Thank you. If you were not there yesterday, check out. You can podcast by going to rebuildingtheman.com/church. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. church. It was amazing. Thank you.
Jay bought 33 coffees saying JESSE 100 emoji.
Amazing. Thank you.
Very generous. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Soul Conscious bought 5 coffees. Jesse, amazing Sunday church. Thank you.
And thank you. Stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. Really.
Someone bought 5 coffees saying, hearing the truth.
And the truth will make you free. Amazing.
Canadian David's a Rumble monthly subscriber on the J.C. Lee Peterson channel saying, the best managers are men. And when a woman manager isn't terrible, she is usually married.
Interesting. And you're right. Women were not created to lead. They were created to follow. And putting them in a leadership role, all this stuff about executive woman and all that mess, you're only making it worse. It's not going to work. It can't work. It won't work. Ain't going to work. The only thing that's going to work is the order of God. Thank you.
Being Enlightened Till I Rise also is a Rumble subscriber on the J.C. Lee Peterson channel.
Thank you. You got to know how to rumble.
Saying, morning, Jesse and crew. Morning, all.
Good morning. Appreciate that.
Coffee Talk with Sandra donated a diamond on D Live saying, nice hairs cut, Hake. Smiley face. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And you cut your own hair, right?
I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Joel cuts his own hair.
I know.
Tom bought a coffee saying,
right.
Yeah. Tom bought a coffee saying, I binge watched all your shows and it made me aware of the lies and stupidity of the left. You're doing God's work here on earth. Any talks scheduled on the East Coast? He asks.
Not right now, but we're getting ready. We'll let you know. Check out the website at rebuildtheman.com, and it has all the events, things listed there. Thank you.
And thank you, guys. That's all for now.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Amazing. 888-7753-773. Let me go to a first-time caller out of North Carolina, Tony. Tony, welcome to the show. You're on the air. Hey, Tony. No Tony, huh?
Hello?
Tony, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing?
All is well.
All right. How you doing? You doing all right?
All is well.
Oh, okay, then I would just like to say to talk to you about, like you said, women are evil and all that and everything.
Well, it's not her. It's the spirit of evil that comes through her.
There's not a spirit of evil that comes through no woman.
What is it?
It's not that.
What is it then?
You know what I'm saying? It's not that. It's just the way that you treat women.
No, what is it that comes through them if it's not the spirit of evil?
It's not the spirit of evil.
Well, what is it?
The spirit of good.
How is it good?
It is good.
Hold on. Can you hold, Tony?
Yeah, I hold.
All right, hold on. 888-7753-773. 2 more hours to go. When I come back, your phone call, super chats, and more news items. Hake is coming in with the hate news, not the fake news, but the hate news. I'll be back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour one of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. It is Monday, September 18th, 2023 AD. Everybody loves Mondays. Stay tuned for hour two. Jesse Lee will be right back to your calls. There is one line open. You can call in right now to get on hold, to get on air with JLP, and he will get to you. But first, Hake news, not fake news. Pence versus Trump. Ooh. Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports the 2024 Republican presidential candidates are amplifying their heated rhetoric ahead of the second GOP so-called primary debate next week. Former Vice President Mike Pence on Sunday, some call him a traitor, significantly escalated his campaign attacks against his former boss, saying our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, is, quote, willing to ignore, unquote, America's debt crises. Oh, there's crises and other urgent issues. Ooh. The Skim reports the far-left females at the Skim announced over the weekend our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, on NBC's Meet the Press in an interview, said of the challenge of challenging the 2020 results that he did way back 3 years ago, quote, it was my decision, but I listened to some people. He said outside lawyers helped him contest the election results in 2020, even though members of his administration said there was no evidence of fraud. Trump reiterated that he believes he won. Trump and 18 co-defendants face charges in Georgia, if you don't already know, for 2020 election interference. Unclear how these comments could affect the trials or be used in court. Trump is still eons ahead, say the ladies at the Skim, of the Republican pack in the polls. The next Republican presidential primary debate is next week in California, of all places, but no word if Trump will be in attendance this time. I doubt it. And the hurricane/post-tropical cyclone Lee aftermath. You know, it was supposed to hit the East Coast. Post-tropical cyclone Lee is forecast to gradually weaken. Forecast to weaken gradually early this week before moving back out into the Atlantic Ocean. Over the weekend, the storm knocked out power to tens of thousands of people across the East Coast in Atlantic Canada. Officials in Florida announced at least one death attributed to the conditions spurred by Lee. In Maine, where winds reached over 80 miles an hour, more than 90,000 customers were left in the dark Saturday. Photos from across the state showed toppled trees near homes and on roadways. So-called President Sleepy Joe Biden authorized the evil DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and evil FEMA, I'm just calling them evil, to coordinate disaster relief and assistance. I'm shaking my head. And the government? Shut it down! So-called Congress is facing a spending deadline at the end of the month. Lawmakers acknowledging that a government shutdown may be inevitable. A group of Republicans finalized a tentative deal, short-term spending plan over the weekend. Several GOP hardliners blasted the agreement Sunday night, leaving House Republicans once again at a major impasse on spending. The bill would impose cuts across departments instead of keeping the government open at current levels. It does not include the White House request for $40 billion in supplemental funding for natural disasters and the war in Ukraine, which Senate leaders in both parties supposedly desire. Even if it passes the House, the bill will certainly be rejected by the demon rat-controlled Senate, meaning Congress is no closer to avoiding a government shutdown. An escape from juvie. Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports 9 teens escaped from a Pennsylvania juvenile detention center on Sunday following a riot at the facility. The center is located 15 miles west of South Coventry Township, where escaped murderer Danilo Cavalcante was captured last Wednesday after nearly 2 weeks on the run. 4 of the 9 were taken into custody earlier this morning. And maybe they've caught the rest, the other 5. I don't know. And there's airline incompetence, cracks from the subversion, right? Here's a quote shared by the CNN. "We deeply understand the frustration and anger of the passengers," said a spokesman for Swiss International Airlines, issuing an apology because they took the passengers but didn't bring any of the checked bags on board. What a mess. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 2.
about themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Good morning. Welcome to the second hour of the show. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. Brand new biblical question for this week. A brand new one. Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Amazing question. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're busy and about, laying up at the beach, you're on those freight trains that come in here from illegal aliens coming here from Mexico right now, boxes and boxes load of illegal aliens on the way, or you're swimming across the border, you're trying to go under the wire there in Texas, whatever you're doing, you're working out, you can listen to the show until you can podcast it. You can listen on your iPhone or iPad at 641-793-1500. That's 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on Rumble. You got to know how to rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Amazing, huh? Like, follow, ring the bell, subscribe, all those good things. I want to go back to a first-time call out of North Carolina, Tony. I had to put him on hold there. We ran out of time from the first hour. Tony, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, now I was just saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you be saying that stuff about, you know what I'm saying? Like, the women are evil and all that, man, they're not that, bro. They're not that.
And why you say that they're not?
Because they're not, man.
No, but
they're
why
not.
are you saying that they're not?
Because they are not, man. The only time a woman gets evil is, like, if you make her that way. You know what I'm saying?
But how can someone make a woman evil?
Because you can make her mad. You can make her upset.
But if she didn't already have evil inside of her, would you be able to make her mad?
No, for one, she wouldn't have evil in her.
No, I asked if she didn't already have evil inside of her, can you make her mad?
No, but probably she never had evil in her in the first place.
No, if she didn't have evil in her, she couldn't get mad.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about if you make her mad.
But you can't make her mad if it's not inside of her already.
No, for one, it's not inside of her. A woman is not just actually evil.
Well, again,
okay.
I said it's not her nature, but it's the nature that was passed on through her by
passed
evil.
On through her, through the mother and everything like that.
Right.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
And that's a lie, too.
Why you say that?
Because that's what it is. It's a lie.
But why do you say...
What you're doing is nothing but lies, Jesse. That's all it is.
Tony,
that's all it is, man.
Tony, you may be right. You may be right, but I'm asking...
You are a deceiver.
Tony.
And you're blasphemous. And you're...
Bye, Tony. Black people, who y'all call to disagree, let's talk about it. Don't just talk over me. You can't do that. It's not going to work. The people on the other end have no idea. They want to hear both sides. I don't mind you disagreeing, but be reasonable. Have conversation. Tony, call me back when you're ready to conversate about what you're saying, all right? Let me go to Brent out of Oklahoma. There's one line open, 888-7753-773. Brent, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Brent. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I just wanted to give you a call. It's been about a year and a half or so. The last time I called, I was on probably 5 or 6 different medications. Just my life was miserable. And I just appreciated the message that you kept harping on over and over again. I decided I had nothing left to lose. I was like, okay. Because at first, when I saw you, you were very funny. And you're a very funny person, but I also thought, I was like, is he retarded? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is he wise? You know, I don't know. So, you know, I was like, I'm going to try something different because my way is just not working. It hasn't worked. It's just not going to work. And I let go of the anger. I went and forgave. You know, I did a few of the things that you recommended that I go and do. And no more Prozac. None of the other medications just anymore. Of course, I had to slowly taper off, you know, to do it the right way. But I don't know. Life has just been better than I could have imagined. And the one thing I will say about it is when I was younger, the way the days just felt really long and without much worry or concern. It felt similar to that, but not exactly the same because, I mean, you're just not a child anymore. But
right,
life just started to happen, and now I bought my first house. Life's just good. So hey, I appreciate the message that you put out there for everybody, and you know.
You're
thank
welcome,
God
man.
first and foremost, because I know you can just point us to the message, but it's not you that's helping me. It's God that's helping us. So
absolutely,
I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome, man. Are you doing the silent prayer?
Yes, sir.
Every morning and night?
And in the afternoons, yes.
Nice. Brent, if you stay with that, and I encourage you to, your mind will become clearer and clearer and clearer. And it's going to be amazing to overcome the fallen state, the dark world, the unnatural way of living, and return to the natural way of living as you did when you were a child before you were traumatized. It's going to be amazing. There are no words to express how easy it will be to just live. That's all you got to do, and life will be provided. It just get better for you, man.
I had an incident that happened a couple of weeks ago. I was in the gas station, and I used to be very quick to anger. And this lady in the gas station, I'm just walking up to the counter, and I can tell that, and she black, and she just had this. She has just had this persona. It just looked like, you know, walk on the other side. Let her have her own lane, which I did. And she just came into my lane and shoulder checked me just for no reason. And I didn't feel anything.
Nice.
And I thought I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I was like, a year or so ago, I wouldn't have been happy. And maybe I wouldn't have done anything, but it would have ruined my day.
Yeah.
I would have thought about nothing but that moment for weeks. It just didn't do anything. I was just like, wow. I was like, that's crazy. So that was just an example.
That's a good one, too, because what I want you to know, in perfect love, there is no frustration. There's no ego. There's no worrying and being angry at people, and because you know they can't help it. If something else is driving them, and they literally cannot help themselves. They just don't know that something else is causing them to think and act and do what they do. They can't see. But because you can see now, you can see what's going on with them, and it prevents you from judging them.
Yes, sir. That's very true.
Well, that
I know
is
you got other callers.
That is an amazing testimony, man. Thank you for it.
I know you got other callers, so I'm going to say one last thing. I know how you loved Revolver. I just saw a movie the other day called Nefarious, and it's an exorcism movie, but I think it's really interesting. Maybe you should check it out, maybe not.
Okay.
But it highlights really kind of what you talk about oftentimes, about the spirit that dwells within people.
Yeah.
And it illustrates this perfectly in this movie without the Hollywood take on exorcism where they're crawling up on the walls and all of that. It's purely mental, and it shows this man spiritually possessed by this demon who takes over his thoughts, his emotions, and everything. I just think it illustrates it beautifully.
I'm going to definitely try and check it out, man. Nefarious. Sean, write that down for me. Text it to me. Amazing.
Well, hey, you have a blessed day. Hell in a handbasket. Heaven within.
That's right, man. Stay with us. Stay with us. Thanks for your call.
All right. Bye.
Bye. I'm telling you, folks, all of us are possessed, and we must be born again, and we will be possessed of good when you overcome evil. It's so amazing. That's what the problem is. And everybody has the same problem. Barbara out of Michigan. Barbara, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. How are you?
All is well, Barbara.
That's good. Okay. So I'm calling today because, again, you always blame everything on the woman. And that is the most aggravating thing about you. Everything else I can deal with, but every time you always blame everything on the woman. You never hold the man accountable. I even heard you say one time.
Like what do I blame on them? What do I blame on them?
Everything.
Like what?
The kids, the husband not being there. They have to work. Everything, no matter what it is, anybody can have a baby, okay? But everybody cannot raise them. That's why a lot of these men are running off, because they don't know how to handle responsibility.
No, that's
not the woman's fault.
I'm sure that you could find one or two men running away from that, but the primary reason that men leave women and not their children, they leave the mother but not the children, is that they can't handle the woman. They can't handle the spirit of the woman. And
so you're telling me all these weak men they don't love their kid enough to bring them up, that they say, screw the kid, just leave them with the mama? They don't have any feelings for their children?
No, it is emotionally painful for men when they have to leave their children, but they know that the courts and they know the spirit of the woman, that they don't have a chance. They have to let them go.
But didn't they know the same thing before they laid down with the woman? Didn't they know that the woman was this before they laid down with her? And
you said,
every time you have sex,
you said,
didn't they know that this was you just said that because they know the spirit of the woman. Well, didn't they know that before they had sex with her?
No.
Didn't they know that before they courted her, took her out, did things with her, went to movie shows? They didn't know none of that then. They didn't figure that out till the baby is born.
Right. They didn't know until after the sex what they were dealing with. And do you think that if the women didn't have evil spirits, that they would destroy the children by keeping them away from their fathers, by trying to hurt,
because women
by trying to hurt the man? Barbara, if the woman didn't have that evil spirit in her, would she take the children away from the father, hurting the children when she knows the battle is just between she and the father and not the children at all? If she didn't have the evil spirit, would she take the children away from the father?
I don't think she has an evil spirit.
No, that's not the
only
question.
reason that the child stays with the mother.
Barbara, that's not the question.
The question is, but the question makes no sense because you're saying that she has an evil spirit when that's not true.
Isn't
so
a
how
good
can you answer a
spirit-
question if it's not true?
Is it a good spirit that caused her to destroy the children by keeping them away from the father? Is that a good spirit?
But that's not what mothers do.
No, I'm
Most
asking you
mothers,
first. Is that a good?
look,
It does happen all the time, but I'm
it
asking.
does not, though.
Barbara.
I think it only happens with
Barbara.
you and the people that
Barbara.
you know.
Hey, Barbara.
I'm listening.
Is it a good spirit that causing the mother to destroy the children by taking them away from the father?
But that's what I'm saying. They're not taking them away from the father.
Barbara,
the
I'm going
father
to ask you
is
one more
leaving.
time. Is it a good spirit that causing them to do that?
Yes.
Oh, it's a good spirit.
It's a good spirit because sometimes the father isn't worth anything, and because of a mother and a mother's love, and because of what God
Mother
has
don't have
instilled into
love.
her, she knows that.
Women don't have love, Barbara.
Women do have love, Jesse.
no,
Why
they
do you
don't.
think God made the kid come through the woman? Why do you think the kid has to be in there for 9 months?
Barbara.
Okay,
Barbara.
that's why they have love. I'll
Barbara.
kill for my kids.
Barbara, that's not love that you'll kill for your kids.
Yes, it is.
No,
if
it's
anybody mess with my kids or,
Barbara,
or treat them bad
where did the
or
love?
hurt them,
Where did the only women that have love now are those who are returning to the Father? Remember how God said, "You must be born again of the Father."
yes.
Those women who have returned to the Father, they have love, but it's not their love. It comes from God, right? And they have love, but those who have not returned to the Father, they only have hate.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want you to send me your book. I want to read Scam. I'm not going to pay for that mess, but I do want to read it.
So if you're not going to pay for it, and you're telling me you're not going to pay for it, you think I'm going to send it to you?
Yeah, so I can read it, and then we can have more to talk about.
Do you think I want you to read it so we can talk?
Yeah, I got a question, though. Do you have any women that work for you, or is it all men? Are you surrounded by all men?
That's not your business.
Oh, what you mean?
But Barbara, are you a Christian?
Yes, sir.
And so do you know about Eve turning away from her husband and Satan became her God?
Yeah, you go again with that.
Do you know about
it
that?
It was a man that deceived Eve.
Barbara,
it was not a
Barbara,
woman,
you're not
a
responding
man.
to that question yet. Do you know that?
Do I know that Eve sinned? Yes, I do. I do know that Eve was deceived by another man.
No. She was deceived by Satan. Do you know that part?
Yeah, Satan is a man.
And
Jesus
when she
fought
was,
Satan,
when she
and
was
Satan,
deceived,
Jesus didn't fight a woman.
when
Jesus
she
fought
was-
another man.
Barbara, when she was deceived by Satan, did he become her God?
No, you can't become someone's God if they trick you.
Amazing.
I'm
Thank
quite
you,
sure
Barbara.
that-
I appreciate it. 888-7. Thank you, Barbara. Call me again when you want to talk about nothing. 888-7753-773. Let me go to David out of Texas. David, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Jesse. How's it going?
All is well, David.
Same. Just wanted to ask you a question.
Ask.
And yes, sir. And so I have a friend who was with a girl that he was
Hold
madly in
on,
love
Barbara.
with.
You should watch. Hold on. I just realized, Barbara, you
No
should
worries.
watch a church service. You'll hear from the ladies. What? Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a friend, one of my best friends. He had a girlfriend. I guess they were madly in love, blah, 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 all that good stuff. She told him when they first got together that he's not allowed to like anyone's Instagram pictures, any other girls. So instead of not liking them, he actually left a fire emoji on some girl's picture, like saying how hot she was or whatever. And then so the girlfriend broke up with him. He blocked him on everything. And now he can't sleep. He can't focus. Can't do anything without thinking about her. And I tried to give him some advice. yesterday saying, it was never going to work out anyways, because obviously if she's going to leave you over something so small that she never really loved you in the first place. And he was like, no, she was the best thing that ever happened to me, and la, 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 la. So I'm just trying to, get some advice from you on how I could help my friend.
Does he want to be helped?
Yes.
He does want help?
Yes.
And so when you told him what you told him, why did he say no to that?
Well, I guess he's blaming himself for doing, quote unquote, the wrong thing by betraying her, and he's basically putting all the blame on himself. So I think he's kind of putting too much. In my opinion, he's putting too much good stock into this woman.
Well, what I would recommend, if he want help, David, I would recommend you tell him that this is the best thing that ever happens to him, because the pain he's having is real because he made the woman his God. And now his God is gone, and he's feeling the loss of his God, which is a false God. And that he should take this time and work on himself by going and forgiving his mother, so the woman will no longer be his God. And then when he date, he'll be able to date in the right way. That's God over Christ, Christ over man, man over woman. And if the woman leave, it wouldn't be a big deal at all. He wouldn't feel any pain. But he got to go forgive his mother, recommend that he does the silent prayer so he can overcome false gods. His ego need to die. So it's good that he's feeling the pain, because it's a wake-up call that he had made the woman his God.
Okay, and
if she wasn't his
God, away a few years ago.
I'm sorry.
His mother passed away a few years ago.
Well, he still can forgive her by realizing, just as he can't help himself right now, she couldn't help herself. He became like her. And once he understands himself, it will cause him to realize she couldn't help herself, and that will cause him to forgive her since she's dead.
I see.
But if he doesn't work on himself and doing the silent prayer, forgiving his father and mother, if he doesn't work on himself, you get out of his way and let him suffer. And maybe in suffering, he would start to seek the right way. He may need pain for that.
Oh, okay.
And he may end up going back with this woman, and she's doing it to him again, or he'll get another woman who's going to do the same thing, as long as he make the woman his God. So he may love the pain. There are people who love the pain.
Right. I used to be like that.
And so he may not be ready to overcome his pain. He may love it. So he may either crawl back to this girl to get more pain, or go to find another one to give him pain. And if he loves his pain, there's nothing you can do about that. Don't feel sorry for him or anything.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't feel sorry for him. I just want to help him, basically.
Did you go and forgive your mother?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And are you doing the prayer every day? Yeah. Every morning and night?
I try to.
Are you doing the silent prayer every morning, every night?
Not every morning, every night, but I do it a lot throughout the day.
But why not every morning, every night as well?
Why not?
Yeah.
I just forget.
So how are you going to help him when you're not helping yourself?
Well, I guess I need to do better.
No, how are you going to help him when you're not helping yourself? Because if you were really working on yourself, you would see how to point him back to God. The words would be given to you to say to him.
Because I was thinking about telling him to go and forgive his mother and his father.
Right.
But I feel like maybe it would be more effective coming from you. you know.
But it will be affected coming from anyone who will return to the Father.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you know what I mean?
I guess those were just the thoughts in my head telling me that, so that I wouldn't say it.
Absolutely. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jesse. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time up.
All right,
I do appreciate you taking my call.
Yeah, do the prayer, man, so you can see how, because you're gonna run into a lot of people with issues, right? And they're gonna want to know, how do you get past this? And you'll see what to say. Don't plan what you're gonna say, but if you do the silent prayer so you can stay awake, you will see what to say to them. It will be given to you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Mr. Jesse. Thank you very much.
All right, buddy. 888-7753-773. Keisha out of North Carolina. Keisha, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Jesse. How are you?
All this well. Speak up, Keisha, a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you sound kind of far off. Hold on a minute, okay? I'm going to let Sean get it straight. I'll come back to you. Don't hang up. Megan is a first-time caller out of Oklahoma. Megan, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Jesse.
Hey, Megan.
I just had a question for you. I'm a divorced mother of a daughter, and I've always kind of tried very hard to keep her father in her life, making sure that they always have time. I've always pushed for that, and I've always tried to not be selfish about it. But sometimes I'm worried that I'm not doing enough, or that no matter what the divorce is, I don't know, going to affect her badly, or I don't know. If it is okay to be divorced, I guess.
You're asking, is it okay to be divorced?
Like, I guess I'm just saying I try very hard to have equal time with my child and share and make sure that he's an important part of her life. But there are a lot of things that he's got a thick spirit of the woman in him, I guess you might say, that is challenging for me sometimes, but I try to ignore that, and so they have their time together and everything. But sometimes I worry that it's not enough, or I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what my question is, I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry, Jeff.
No problem. Take your time.
But yes, I try to be a good influence. Like, sometimes I feel bad being a masculine figure, strong for my daughter, and I wish that he would do those things, but I can't make him do those things.
Right. And so...
but yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. But you what?
Just that I always try to just give them the opportunity and make sure they have their time.
And does he spend time with her?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And so your question for me is what then?
I know the music's playing. You can put me on hold if you want. I'm sorry.
Hold on, Megan, and then think about your question for me.
Yeah.
Let's see here. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment, folks. Now, I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry. because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. Eight 888-7753-773, 888-77, Jesse. Announcement. The Hake report is coming up at the top at 9 a.m. this morning. The Hake report from 9 to 11. And James Hake is on fire. He ain't got that good hair for nothing. And at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby at 12 noon Pacific time. Did you take a ride with the American Anchor Baby over the weekend? It was flying high on natural energy, not pot, not fentanyl, but natural energy at 12 noon. Also, if you need counseling, we have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. And by phone, Skype, or walk in, go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or call 800-411-BOND to make an appointment, 411-BOND. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk. Buymeacoffee.com .com/JLP Talk. All right? You can podcast the Hake Report and the Anchor Baby if you missed it. All right? And Joel Friday on Tuesdays. You can podcast Joel Friday TV. He's here on Tuesdays. And wow, WOW Hassan is every Wednesday now. So you can podcast all the shows as well. Making it happen. And thanks to you all. Let me go back to Megan, a first-time caller out of Oklahoma, and Megan concerned about her daughter. Megan, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess ultimately I am kind of asking, like, is it okay to be divorced? Like, if I feel like I'm doing everything I should be doing, like, I don't know. I was kind of wondering your opinion on that.
On being divorced or doing everything you could to make sure the father's there?
Oh, well, I'm both. So,
did you divorce him or he divorced you?
I didn't want to get divorced, but I ended up doing it after trying a lot of stuff.
Are you able to say why you divorced him?
It was a lot of things, but ultimately there was just like some some violence and betrayal involved in the relationship. I tried to go to different therapies and things. So.
And why were you violent toward him?
No, it wasn't me actually.
Oh,
that's funny though. That's funny. No, the more time I got away from the relationship, the more that I realized that he had, like I said, there was a lot of. I was just like, man, this guy's a woman. I almost thought he might be gay at one point. I was very young. He was a lot older than me, so I think I was very blind to the situation when I was. But no, I try very. My main goal is to get along with him for sure.
Right, and so does he want to? Does he on his own visit with his daughter and take care of his daughter?
Yes, absolutely.
And so what you're saying is you don't get in the way of that, right?
No.
Oh, good.
No, I mean, well, there's a little bit, like sometimes she's got a weight problem, so I ask him to not give her sugar sometimes. I try not to overstep my bounds because I want him to lead and be a man, but like, yeah, that's what I'm saying is I'm having to negotiate these things, and I feel, I don't know, I guess I should do silent prayer more for clarity.
Right. I'm going to ask, are you doing the silent prayer?
I just started. I'm really new to it, and sometimes I feel like I'm not doing that good either.
and why do you feel that way?
I guess probably because how difficult it seems.
It's difficult in what way?
Like sitting there and you say like contain the thoughts, or like you use some phrase where like you. Just being able to not get wrapped up in them and observe them, like that's kind of a new idea for me. So. Right.
Well, yeah, you just want to watch them. You don't want to contain them. You don't want to pick out the so-called good ones and let the bad ones go. All thoughts are all lies all the time. And all you want to do is just watch them instead of living inside of them. So you just watch them. The way you sit back when you watch a movie, you're not controlling the movie. You're just watching it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, same thing with the thoughts. You just want to watch them. Don't put any effort at all trying to make anything happen, but watch them. That's all you have to do. And then they will be taken away from you eventually, because it's the light of God that is causing you to see the darkness that you've been living in all your life, and it has been destroying you by making you think that it was you doing things and you in control, and you are not. You're trying to make things happen, and you can't make things happen. You have to let life happen.
Yeah.
Have you gone and forgiven your mother?
Yes.
You went to her?
Yes, I did. I called her on the phone.
And how'd that go?
She took it pretty good. She knows that she's affected my life, and she appreciated it, I guess. But it didn't really matter because I've been through it so many times with her that trying to forgive her in different ways probably wasn't actually forgiving her, but I actually forgive her for like resenting her and all that.
You told her that. What did you say to her?
I said I forgive you. It was probably after we had an argument, and then I just went ahead and told her that I forgive her.
So you call her up and you're arguing with her, and then you say I forgive you?
It was like the next day. There was an argument on a road trip.
Oh, I see. And then and you call her. And what did you say to her exactly?
I told her that I forgive her, and I'll keep forgiving her. And she doesn't talk to her mother, or she didn't, but she called her mother and forgave her as well. I guess I was just kind of went on a long talk with her about resentment and how it affects us and how I don't want that for my daughter. I kind of just talked to her a lot about it, about how important it was in general.
And why did you talk to her so much about it?
I don't know. I guess I wanted her to forgive her mom too. 'Cause
Why?
I see a pattern.
Why
I
do
see
you
a
want?
pattern in,
Why did you want her to forgive her mother?
well, I guess I thought it would be helpful for everybody in the family line if everybody kind of had that message.
No, I mean, of course, if you truly see that you're wrong for resenting her, it's the right thing for you. But you don't need her to change in order for you to overcome evil and not pass it on to your daughter. It's stopped with you. You don't have to try to make it stop with your mother. That's up to your mother.
That's true. I guess I just wanted to spread the word. I felt I don't know, sometimes I get, like, I hear what you say and it makes so much sense. I probably just wanted to share it with people.
Oh, okay. And how old is your daughter?
She's 10.
And so how does your mother treat you now that you've forgiven her, and how do you deal with her?
She treats me with more respect, it seems like. And we have boundaries. She doesn't text me every few days acting like a pity party because I haven't called her. She seems to stay more in her space and not try to jump in mine as much. I've noticed it seems like there was some improvement there.
And when you ask your father when you went to forgive him, and you ask him why did he protect you from her, what did he say?
Actually, I think specifically whenever I spoke to my father, he just apologized. He actually asked me forgiveness for the abandonment. So I don't know if I got in specifically to the protect me from her thing.
What
it was
is
just like in general that he abandoned.
What does that mean, abandon you?
Like left, like took off.
Oh, he left you to your mother?
Yeah.
And you had to deal with it on your own?
Yeah, that's correct.
What a mess. And so you forgave him for that?
I did.
Yeah. And so right now, what are you uncertain about?
Because I'm divorced, it just seems like the order's all messed up. For my daughter, like, even if I've forgiven these people, I'm still, she still has me to look at as a divorced lady. And sometimes I feel like I'm, like, guiding the family too much. Like because I have opinions, like, hey, could you not feed her sugar? I worry about her health sometimes. And I'm like, man, this is still me kind of like, being the man while he's being the woman, which was a problem in our marriage.
And how do you feel about him, your ex?
I think things are good with the amount of space we have. I think he's an all right person. I don't know what to say. I mainly think about how that's her dad and how important he is to her.
Right.
And I try not to form, like, a really hard opinion about him one way or the other.
Nice. Here's what I recommend. This idea about your divorce and how it's going to affect your daughter, don't worry about that. You just work on overcoming the fallen state. You do the silent prayer every morning, every night. And during the day, practice bringing your mind back where your body is rather than thinking about the past or the future, which doesn't exist. And you just work on you. And it's not going to matter to you, especially now that it sounds like you're not in the way of your daughter and his daughter seeing him. And you work on you, everything will be fine for the daughter.
Okay, Jesse.
Because whatever your spirit is If your spirit is of perfect love, that's all you're going to ever pass down to your daughter and anyone, really. You will have nothing but love working through you. But if you have anger, that's all you'll have to pass down is hate. But if you're working on you, you're going to be, your daughter will be fine, you will be fine, and your daughter will be fine. Because her concern is not about whether you're married or not. She would love, of course, you want to see her father anytime you want to, but the concern is that you have love on your heart and not hate. And anyone that has anger has the spirit, their nature has the spirit of evil.
I understand.
And so don't worry about that. Stay out of the thoughts, and you'll be fine. And marriages today don't work anyway because they're not built on love. They're only built on hate. They are built on this need, trying to get something from each other. And so you'll be fine if you stay with the prayer and just watch. And if your mother try to rule over you again, tell her how the cow ate the cabbage, but just don't get angry at her.
Yes. Okay.
That makes sense?
It does. Thank you, Jesse.
But listen, you stay away from those thoughts about, I'm divorced, that's going to affect my daughter. I worry about sugar. I worry about this. All those thoughts is not of love, are not of love. So let them pass. And I'm telling you, the spirit of love will work on through you on your behalf and on your daughter's behalf.
All right.
So don't be feeling guilty about the divorce or anything, because what has happened, it wasn't you, the wrong spirit working through you. And that will change if you stay working on you.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse.
All right. One last question. You forgive your husband, your ex-husband, for his weakness?
I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe that's why I'm kind of upset. Maybe that's why I have those thoughts about divorce being bad, is because I think there's something I should be doing, or, I mean, maybe I am. Maybe, I don't know. I guess I'd never thought about that. I always thought about mom, dad, spiritual connection, get that covered. You'll, look at those things. But yeah, I mean, is that something I need to work on? Like, maybe. I try not to hold it against him, but.
Yeah, because whatever he did or did not do, just as you, he couldn't help himself either. He's been driven by the wrong spirit, which is of his mother. He might not be working on himself right now. And so it's enough to see that it was wrong, but don't resent him for being wrong. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't see.
Okay.
He was set up just as you've been set up by his mother.
Yeah. I guess, I got to quell that. I have a real big urge in me sometimes to want to help people, you know what I mean? Like, help. Even though you can't really do that, I guess.
Right. You can't help anybody. You can't even help yourself.
Yeah. That's such a good point.
And the only reason you're trying to help, you're either made to be that way when you're growing up because you felt like helping somebody to make you feel better, and you're still doing it for the thrill of it, to try to make yourself feel better because you're helping others. That's the wrong motivation.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But do the silent prayer, you'll overcome all that stuff. And if you hold any resentment toward your ex, you apologize to him for that so God can forgive you for that. And you'll be fine, really. But just do the silent prayer, work on yourself, and watch.
Okay.
And all those thoughts you're getting about the divorce and everything else are just lies. All thoughts are all lies all the time about anything.
All right. Yeah. I hear you. Thank you so much for your patience in dealing with all these callers, all these lost people.
You're welcome. But do the silent prayer and let me know how it goes.
Okay. I'll call you back another time.
And remember, you just want to watch the thoughts. They are not your own.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you for that advice.
Okay. Take care now.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Amazing. There's a line open, 888-7753-773. Let me try Keisha again. Keisha, let's try it again. Go ahead.
Good morning, Jesse. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Well, I called you last week, and you asked me to call you back. I did not, but I decided to call you back this morning.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, Jesse, and I don't know if I may call back again, but I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions if I can.
Okay.
I listened to your, I guess it's the show you had with Ethan on Rumble last week. I think it was last
Oh,
week.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
The young man who was trying to get his kids, right? And he was fighting with the family members of the kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I listened to that show, but I kind of turned it off after you told him that all men hate women.
Right.
Because they hate their mothers.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't understand that one, but okay. I turned it off after that.
And why?
Because I don't believe that's so.
Why not?
That's why. Because that would, to me, that inadvertently would say that God hates women.
No, they're not saying that God hates women. It's just that men hate women because they hate their mothers. And when they forgive their mothers, they're going to love the women in the same manner, exact love of God, because that's what will operate through them.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Why do you disagree with that on that?
Because I don't believe all men hate women.
Then why did God say that you must be born again of the Father? All who are born of the woman must be born of the Father.
Born again of the Father, right?
Right.
Hello?
Yes. Why do you think that men and women have to be born of the Father if it's not to overcome the fallen nature of the mother?
Because it's like you're trying to blame women for everything, Jesse.
But it's not blaming. It's telling you what the problem is and how to overcome it. And when God said that all must be born of the Father, was he blaming women?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Do you think that God was blaming women when he said that?
No, I do not.
Then when I say you must be born of the Father, why do you think I'm blaming women?
It's just the way that women are, their God is below and man's God is above. Don't you think God just loves all of humanity? It's like you're just using the man.
Well, he definitely loved all. That's why he sent his son and he brought us back and he cleansed us and brought us back, right? He loved all. But you must still see that you're wrong and return to him. He accepts those who return to him, and those who don't, he lets you stay in hell.
So why separate man from woman?
Because he made the man first. And he didn't separate the man from the woman. Eve separated the man from the woman when she believed the serpent, the devil, and he became her God. Can you hold for me?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. 888-7753-773. We're going to get to all of your calls. I have an amazing video that we want to show you. Sean and I are going to show you. It's mind-blowing. We mentioned it yesterday in the meeting, but I didn't have the video. Back in a moment. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world, as you all know. This is the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. Hang tight, callers and listeners. JLP will be right back for hour 3. But first, Hake news, not fake news. This is the end of hour 2. Again, it's Monday, September 18th, 2023 AD. Stay tuned. After the Jesse Lee Peterson Show, the Hake Report, and of course, American Anchor Baby at noon Pacific time today. This is the third Thursday of the month coming right up. So, ladies, join JLP and your fellow ladies. And we sometimes use the term loosely, but some of you really are ladies. For the Women's Forum, third Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. You can go to rebuildingtheman.com/events if you need more info, or if you need to confirm it. Or if you need to call the office, it's 323-782-1980, 323-782-1980. The commie strikes. Commie Nonsense Network CNN reports the United Auto Workers strike against GM, Ford, and Stellantis has entered its 4th day. Can you believe it already? 4 days. This is the first time union members have struck all 3 U.S. automakers at the same time. Negotiations continued over the weekend between UAW and the big 3 automakers. Union warned they could call for additional strikes this week if their demands are not met. Quote, "We're prepared to do whatever we have to do," said UAW President Sean Fain, S-H-A-W-N, Fain, not to be confused with our Sean, the producer of JLP, who's not a union guy at this point, I don't think. He said that on Sunday to CBS. These companies have made $250 billion in the last 10 years, $21 billion in the last 6 months alone, and our workers' wages and conditions have went backwards, he says. It's have gone backwards, buddy. Gone. The auto strike comes amid a growing movement of U.S. so-called workers walking off the job, not working. From Hollywood writers and actors to factory workers and Starbucks baristas. Wow. Useful idiots, blind following the blind. In the evil UN, world leaders are meeting in New York City, according to the Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, starting today for the UN General Assembly. The pressing topics at hand include Ukraine's war inside of Ukraine against Russia, lethal floods in Libya. Wow, they killed thousands and thousands and thousands. Multiple coups in the African continent, North versus South economic funding, whatever that is. Violence in Haiti, climate change, to name a few. Ukraine's unchristian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also planning to use an in-person appearance to appeal for more support in the UN General Assembly. Sleepy Joe will be the only leader of the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council to attend. Wow. To attend or not to attend? To attend. Nevertheless, dozens of other chief delegations will stand at their podium to deliver their remarks to the nations. If you'd like to be a UN observer, tune in to UN TV on Tuesday. Brazil kicks off a speech-making, followed by the United States, Ukraine, and Cuba. And speaking of those Libya floods, CNN says the UN revised its previous death toll from the floods in Libya as crews race to provide aid to thousands of those impacted. Around 4,000 people have died, they say, per the UN on Sunday. Significant decrease from Saturday's initial report that said at least 11,300 people died in Derna, the epicenter of the disaster. I don't know if disaster is supposed to be called an epicenter. The UN cited Libyan Red Crescent with the conflicting figures, Saturday's report. Blah, 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 blah. Death toll is going to be, they're going to have to hammer it, nail it down later. Experts say the impact of Storm Daniel, not to be confused with that dirty video woman, was greatly exacerbated by a confluence of factors including aging, crumbling infrastructure, communist buzzword, inadequate warnings of the accelerating climate crisis. Anyway, not based Drew Barrymore. Who read the room? Drew Barrymore, the actress and talk show host, posted an apology Instagram and said that she's pausing the start of her program because she's kissing up to the mob of union people striking. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, hour 3.
stand up strong, think the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. Good morning, y'all. Monday morning. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Brand new biblical question. Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Why do you judge other people's strength against your weakness? Amazing question, huh? We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're busy right now, you can't sit and watch the show live anywhere in the world, you can listen on your iPhone or iPad by calling the listen line at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on Rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, Rumble.com, and Cozy.tv/JLP, where Christ is King. Christ is King at Cozy, COZY.TV/JLP. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. No, I'm sorry. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk or rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com/donate. All right. I want to go back to Keisha out of North Carolina. And Keisha was asking about why do I blame women for everything. She heard the interview last week and about how to deal with things. And it sounds like Keisha having a hard time accepting the spirit of evil that comes through the woman. Am I right about that, Keisha?
No.
You're not having a hard time accepting the fact that the spirit of evil comes through the woman?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because if that's the case, then everybody is evil, Jesse.
You're right about that. That's what all must be born again. But I'm asking, have you realized and accept that the spirit of evil comes through the mother?
No.
And why not?
Because that's just ridiculous. That's why, because women love, we have a hard job as it is being women, Jesse.
Yeah, you're right about that. And that's why when men are right, when they return to the Father, then they are able to bring the woman out of the hell that she's in.
Okay, then that's everybody. You just can't separate everybody.
But you're right. Everyone must be born again. Everyone who is born of the woman must be born of the Spirit of the Father.
Well, that's the only way anybody can be born, just is through a woman. We were given that job by God.
Right.
So why did God make us evil?
Well, again, God didn't do it. Eve did it when she disobeyed her husband and she listened to evil and she became evil. Her nature became evil. It wasn't God that did that. Had Eve obeyed her husband, then that would not have happened. Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
And are you familiar with what happened in the garden?
Yes, I am.
Are you aware that Eve listened to the serpent and he became her God?
She was deceived by the serpent, yes.
And once she was deceived by him, he became her God?
There's only one true God, Jesse. Satan is not a God. He's a fallen angel.
When Eve listened to him, did he become her God? It's a false God.
No.
He's not the true God. You're right about that. But when Eve listened to the serpent...
That's the whole reason he was cast out of heaven.
I'm sorry?
He wanted to be God.
He what?
He wanted to be God. He was trying to do God's job. He wanted that job.
That's right. And if you notice, everyone who has that angry, evil nature, they think that they are God too. They try to be God because they're just like their father, the devil. They take on his identity, and they believe in that fallen state, ego fallen state, that they could be God because they're just like the father, the devil.
So that's everybody, not just woman, right?
Do you hear me saying everybody, or you don't hear that part?
Jesse, that's no need to be rude. I was just saying, so that includes man as well.
Right,
evil.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way that the man became evil because he was born through the nature of the mother. And the mother's nature is evil. So that's how men and women become evil, because they take on the nature of the mother. But if the mother was not evil, let's say the mother had gone and forgiven, and her nature had changed from the devil's nature to God's nature, and she had a child, then she would pass the love of God onto the child, and the kids would be fine. That makes sense?
If it makes sense to you.
Does it make sense to you?
No, but like I said, we can agree to disagree.
But why do you disagree with what God said too then, right?
I'm not disagreeing with God said. I've never read in the Bible that women were evil.
I'm sorry?
I never read in the Bible, and even in Genesis, that God said that women were evil.
But have you read that when Eve believed the serpent, she could no longer believe her husband who believed God?
Yeah, her husband what? I'm sorry?
Have you read in the Bible that when Eve believed the serpent? You know what? I understand. You may not want to accept this, so just live it as you're doing it, and I wish you well with that. I don't want to convince you of this. If you don't see it for yourself, if I convince you of that, you still won't believe it. You either see it or you don't see it. And right now it sounds like you don't see it, and you're not trying to see it. You're just trying to say that it's not true, everybody evil. It sounds like you don't want to see. How will you overcome if you don't see what happened?
Everybody must be born again. I was born again in 2000.
Everybody must be born again of what?
Born again of the Father.
And why?
Come to Him as you are.
And why? Why must they be born again?
In order to get your name put into the book of life.
Why must everyone be born again?
In order to get to heaven.
No. That's not it. Born again from what?
From your sins.
And what is the sin?
Sin can be anything, Jesse.
No, it can't be anything. What is the sin that? What is the sin that we all must be born from?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Have you ever read that the sin is of the heart?
The sin is of the heart?
Yeah, have you read that in the Word? Salvation is of the heart.
Can you tell me what scripture that's on, and I sure will read it.
Yeah, no, I can't. I got to run, though. But thank you, Keisha. Call me again. I appreciate it. You can't convince people that they don't want to see it. They just don't want to see it. You just have to let them suffer until they can see it. She doesn't want to see it. Even though she knows it's true, she doesn't want to see it and admit it in order to go free. And that's the serpent working through her to keep you in darkness. What a mess. It's up to y'all. Before there is a line open, I'm going to get to everybody. 888-775-3773. But my producer, and I mentioned this yesterday, you see how hard it is for Keisha to see the truth? And the reason that it's so hard for her to see the truth is because she's locked in a prison cell of her imagination. And in that prison cell, she doesn't want to see the truth. And no one can convince her. You can't convince anyone of the truth. Either they want to see it or not. So Sean is here, my producer Sean, amazing. And he's going to explain this, and we'll play a soundbite when it's time. Your whole life has been an illusion. Sean, you take it from there. What's going on here?
So an allegory, it's called an allegory. It's like a poem or a picture or a story that has like a hidden meaning.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a parable. You know, a lot of the stories in the Bible aren't meant to be taken literally.
Right.
They have hidden symbolic meanings. So Plato was a philosopher. He lived before Christ, BC, like 300, 400 BC in Greece.
Okay.
And so he wrote this book called Republic, and in the book he has a story in the book called The Cave. It's known as like the allegory of the cave. That's how some people refer to it as. And it's just amazing to see how stories that have existed for thousands of years, are just as true today as they were back then.
Absolutely.
There's a comedian who says that you see the same stories in the Old Testament as you do in the New York Post.
That's so true, man.
And so it's a longer video. It takes a little time to explain exactly what's going on. I think it's about seven minutes long. But yeah, the allegory of the cave is very, symbolic of a lot of the things we talk about living in illusions and about waking up and about dealing with other people once you've woken up, dealing with people who haven't woken up
right.
yet.
I want y'all to watch this. This is from Wikipedia, and then we'll get back to your calls and your super chats. This is from Wikipedia, the allegory of the cave, or Plato's cave, is an allegory presented by the Greek philosopher Plato in his work, Republic. Watch this from Philip Williams.
Envision human figures living in an underground cave with a long entrance across the whole width of the cave. Here they have been from their childhood and have their legs and necks chained so that they cannot move and can only see before them, being prevented by the chains from turning their heads around. Above and behind them, a fire is blazing at a distance. They see only their own shadows, which the fire throws on the opposite wall of the cave. For how could they see anything but the shadows if they were never allowed to move their heads? Between the fire and the prisoners, there is a raised way and a low wall built along the way like the screen which puppet players have in front of them, over which they show the puppets. Do you see men passing along the wall, carrying all sorts of articles which they hold projected above the wall? Statues of men and animals made of wood and stone and various materials? Of the objects which are being carried in like manner, they would only see the shadows. And if they were able to converse with one another, would they not suppose that they were naming what was actually before them? And suppose further that there was an echo, which came from the wall. Would they not be sure to think when one of the passers-by spoke that the voice came from the passing shadows? To them, the truth would be literally nothing but the shadows of the images. And now look again and see what will naturally follow if one of the prisoners is released. At first, when he is liberated and compelled suddenly to stand up and turn his head round and look towards the light, all this would hurt him, and he would be much too dazzled to see distinctly those things whose shadows he had seen before. And then conceive someone saying to him that what he saw before was an illusion. But that now, when he's approaching nearer to reality and his eyes turn toward more real existence, he has a clearer vision. What will be his reply? And you may further imagine that his instructor is pointing to the objects as they pass and requiring him to name them. Will he not be perplexed? Will he not think that the shadows which he formerly saw are truer than the objects which are now shown to him? And suppose once more that he is reluctantly dragged up a steep and rugged ascent and held fast until he is forced into the presence of the sun himself. When he approaches the light, his eyes will be dazzled, and he will not be able to see anything at all of what are now called realities. He will require to grow accustomed to the sight of the upper world. And first he will see the shadows best. Next, the reflections of objects in the water, and then the objects themselves. Then he will gaze upon the stars and the spangled heavens, and the light of the moon. He will see the sky and the stars by night. Last of all, he will be able to see the sun, and not mere reflections of it in the water, but he will see the sun in its own proper place, and not in another. And he will contemplate the sun as it is. Will he not then proceed to argue that it is the sun who gives the season and the years, and is the guardian of all that is in the visible world, and in a certain way the cause of all things which his fellows have been accustomed to behold? Clearly he would first see the sun, and then reason about it. And when he remembered his old habitation and what was the wisdom of the cave and his fellow prisoners, do you not suppose that he would bless himself for the change and pity them? And if they were in the habit of conferring honors among themselves on those who were the quickest to observe the passing shadows, and to remark which of them went before and which followed after, and which were together, and who were therefore best able to draw conclusions as to the future, do you think that he would care for such honors and glories, or envy the possessors of them? Would he not say with Homer, "Better to be the poor servant of a poor master, and to endure anything rather than think as they do and live after their manner"? Imagine once more such a one coming suddenly out of the sun to be replaced in his old situation. Would he not be certain to have his eyes full of darkness? And if there were a contest of measuring the shadows, and he had to compete with the prisoners who had never moved out of the den, while his sight was still weak, and before his eyes had become steady, wouldn't they all laugh at him and say he had spoiled his eyesight by going up there, and that it was better not to even think of ascending? And if anyone tried to release another and lead him up to the light, let them only catch the offender, and they would put him to death.
Amazing. And you say?
So much to say about that.
That was so deep, I can hardly stand it. It was so amazingly deep and so true.
Right. And, just the beginning of becoming unchained from that kind of situation is starting to question, are those real? Are they not real? Like just posing that question is the beginning of that journey to climb up all those stairs, to see the fire for what it is, to see the fake images for what they are, and then to climb even further up to the real world and see it for what it is. And it reminds me a lot of two things. One is the difference between trying to convince other people of things and pointing them in the right way.
Yeah.
Because like you say all the time, all we can really do is point people in the right direction.
Yes.
And that's different from trying to convince someone of something. In my opinion, trying to point someone in the right direction is, it requires you to recognize where that person is at, because you can point them in the right direction, but if they're not in a place to accept it, then you're doing more harm than good.
I see that all the time when I try to point people away from the darkness of the imagination.
Yeah.
Toward the light, and they don't want that. They want the imagination. That's me. That's what I've been. I'm everybody like that.
Right, exactly.
You're lying, Jesse.
Yeah.
They just. But then those who want it, you tell them to look toward the light. They're ready for it. They just go for it.
Right. You're right. And you can do what you can do.
Yeah.
With people like that, and oftentimes it really is just one comment, one suggestion, one little, pointing them in the right way.
Yes.
And besides that, they're on their own.
I know, absolutely.
And also it reminds me of the difference between practical thoughts and all the other thoughts that run your life, that control your life.
One thing that comes to mind right now, too, is not only do, we try to point people away from the imagination. Even God said, bring all thoughts into captivity. All thoughts are lies. None of them are from him. They're not true. But most people have been living with those things and the feelings for so long inside the body, they think it's inside of them. But it's inside the body. And you can't convince them, man.
Nope.
It's like trying to convince black people, not all but most, that no such, or even white people now, that there's no such thing as racism. They have heard it. They have seen what looked like it because they believe that it exists. And so the traders, the ones that work for evil, they give them all these false examples of what it is. It's like the shadow thing. It's not even real, but that's what they see. And you come along and tell them, you know what, that's not real.
Yep.
It's just a made-up word.
Yep. He looks back into the cave. He sees them all giving each other awards for who's the least racist, who's the most racist.
Yeah.
And they're all thinking about the future, and he just sees that competition for what it is as like something silly. And it reminds me of the fleas in the jar too. Once you leave the cave, you can't go back and just go participate in that anymore.
Right.
You can't go back and back into the jar.
Another reminder is they believe that white people are superior. They call them white supremacy. White people are not superior.
Yeah.
But you can't convince the person that believes that white people are superior, and you can't convince them that's not true.
Right, and that's what they call the racial consciousness. A lot of people in the top try to instill that racial consciousness in people.
Right.
So that's what all they think about.
Yeah.
And really, as we know, it's just another way of talking about class.
Yeah.
It's Marxism, that class tensions.
Yeah.
Class struggle of Marxism. When they say racism, when they say whites versus blacks, 99% versus the 1%, that's just another way of talking about those types of ideas.
Yeah.
And that, as far as people being disadvantaged or unfortunate, that's what they'll say,
And you make another good point, too. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just, convincing people that they're poor. Who are you to convince me that I'm poor? They'll remind people all the time how poor they are.
I know they can convince you that you're poor. You never even think about being poor.
Right.
You just walk down the road happy,
right,
drinking cornbread and Kool-Aid, and they tell you you're poor.
Right, and now you're angry.
You
don't have material things, and you don't even know why.
What a mess.
Something you didn't question before.
Never question that.
And now you're running around angry, like, oh, I don't have what they have. I don't have what they have. It's because I'm black. It's because of this. It's because of that.
And you're right, too, in that they're always rewarding one another for lying.
Yeah.
For the illusion, and keep you into the illusion, they award you for it. They have these big events, they give out awards, and they do that. Whoever told the biggest illusion to get the greatest award.
Yeah.
And so you go out there and keep lying.
Yep.
What a mess. That's deep, man.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
It is. Amazing. That's from Phillips Williams.
And it's cool to see old footage like that, like old TV shows as they used to be with that music in the background and like the old guy talking. That's such a nice aesthetic.
You know, you made a point during the break is that in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men and women knew that the evil came through the woman.
Right.
They would say it, they'd talk about it, they would warn you about it and everything. The men and the women were doing it, warning people about it, but now that's been shut down. And so younger generations don't even hear it. And when they do hear it, they can't believe it because they have not been told that. And they don't believe it. Their parents were not an example of it and telling them what was really, really going on.
Right. And an unspoken example. Not necessarily something that's even discussed.
Right.
It's just you see it for what it is without words. It's just the way it is.
Amazing.
Oh, man, I read something really amazing about how marriages used to work and how, they were arranged between families. So really it was two fathers making a decision on what was practical and what was best for two people. It wasn't two people falling in love and having a romance thing.
Right.
It was just what was practically going to work best. I have a thing about that we might cover in the next few days. But.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Someone sent us a book with old sayings, right?
Yeah, country wisdom.
Country wisdom. Thank you, whoever sent that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name?
Court Green? Court Green, I believe.
Oh, thank you, Court Green. Amazing book. Appreciate it. But anyway, folks, all thoughts are all lies all the time. Emotions, emotions are lies. One last thing about emotion. They have allowed the women to convince them that emotions are good.
Yeah.
They tell the men, it's okay to cry. It's okay to do this. It's hard for a man to be a man because he can't be emotional.
Yep. And I think about TV. TV is something we just, live with now. It's just become normal. But so much of TV is so bad. It's just as addictive as any other thing that you could be addicted to. And it's the thrill of it. It's the thrill of tuning in, the emotions of all the characters. Advertisements play on your emotions.
Yeah.
Every advertisement you see is like, you're not okay until you get this product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They even advertise medication or they'll advertise something for depression, for example.
Yeah.
And then real fast they'll tell you this medication may cause blindness. It may cause your hair to fall out. It may cause this.
Right, but the commercial goes from black and white into color, so it's like you think everything's all good.
What a mess! What a mess. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem.
That's amazing. All thoughts are all lies all the time, folks. Emotions are lies. They're based on lies, on the thoughts. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. Quick break, back in a moment. The treasure chest, by the way, is now open on D-Live. I noticed after a while that when these guys overcome their anger, they have amazing ideas about starting a business, But because they've been told that if you don't get a loan from the bank, or if you don't have a 5-year plan, or if you don't do this, and it's just simply not true, it's the first step. With faith, then all things are possible. So, but the most important thing is to return to the Father. That yearning that you have, that emptiness, that void, is not for more stuff. It's not for more friends. It is a return to the Father, because there's no way you can return to God and be angry at your earthly father. So thank you all so much, right? People around the world donated to Bond at rebuildingtheman.com, or they call 800-411-2663, and we're still committed to pointing the right way for men and women to return to the Father. All right, welcome back. I totally understand why people don't want to. They can't. They so identify with the not self, and they don't want to hear that that's not them. They don't want to get on that straight and narrow path and travel alone and be guided by the light. They rather live in hell with a group and think they're dark and call darkness light. All for the thrill of it. All for the thrill of it, the ego. But you must be born again, and you can't if you want to. Quick announcement first. The Hake report is coming up at the top of this hour. The Hake, H-A-K-E, report.com from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. And he is taking calls like 90 going north. And at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. Natural energy. Not high of pot. Not high of fentanyl. But flying high. Natural energy. At 12 noon today, the American Anchor Baby. For personalized shout-outs, birthday shout-outs, I'll do them for you. Birthday shout-out, congratulations, anniversaries, whatever the occasion, encouragement, go to Cameo, cameo.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, cameo.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. And last but not least, check out our merch. Merch everywhere. What the? Stop having sex out of wedlock. The fallen state. Your daddy didn't leave you. Your daddy left your mama. All kinds of stuff. Hoodie. We even have hoodie with the Great White Hope on it. What the? Nice. So go to rebuildingtheman.com/store. All right. Let me go quickly to Adrian out of Long Island, New York. Adrian, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. How are you today?
All is well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Nice.
So I was waiting online because obviously I was on hold. But so a lady had called in, the first lady that was challenging you about the women and the spirit and all this stuff.
Oh, Barbara from Michigan, I believe.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand this stuff to be true. I understood it to be true when I didn't have words for it, but you let things go and then you fall into whatever you fall into. But I had heard a pastor say something. Now I can't remember it because I called you about it.
Right.
But he had mentioned, he was saying something about why would Satan use the man to spread evil into the world when the woman was created to be a helpmate. He said, so if he has I can't remember how he said it, but it was like, ooh, that sounds good. But he was like, but if he took the woman who's designed by nature to be a helpmate, to always want to assist, wouldn't she be more suitable to bring millions and more people into evil than it would be the man? The man was just, I think Adam was just demonstrating what we see today in men, weakness, not to take responsibility for who they are and what they're destined to be. But to incubate and have a child being formed inside of you with all these things going on, especially if you've not overcome in life, and then to be deceived through the woman into, even if she's a nice woman or I was a mean one, but it would be so much more evil to spread because it would be so well disguised. I wish I knew who this pastor was, not someone I would follow, but it was the way he said it. It complemented what you're saying about women, and I'm like, that's so true because we can deceive you in so many ways. I'm so sweet. I carry the baby. I love the baby, but like when I was pregnant, I was in a fallen state, and yes, I was a Bible thumper, but I was still in a fallen state. And all of those emotions and the anger and the whatever I felt, every day my baby in that womb was feeling that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It does make sense, and it's true. I don't know if this is judging or not because there's still so many things that I am hoping to continue to grow in the truth. But I cannot believe when a woman calls you in, even if she doesn't want to believe in Jesus, to say that women are so loving and so kind. We're traumatized in school by each other, girls. I guess you're right that they just don't want to see the truth. Because I'm like, even if you're not looking for Jesus, you cannot say as a woman that other women are kind. I'm like, because that's just not true. They even made a movie, Mean Girls. I mean, give me a break. It's just, I wish them well.
The women,
I hope I'm wishing them well.
The women know it, but
makes sense.
They know it, but because they're so attached to the false self and to the lie, it's hard for them to admit it. That's why I say once you believe into a lie, it's hard to believe the truth. You got to want the truth to come and cause you to believe, to overcome that lie. And these women who are fighting to stay in hell like that, they know. That's why they're fighting back, because they know what the truth is. They just don't want to admit it because they love living in the cave rather than face it. I want to ask, how do women react to you when you mention the evil nature of the woman?
They just look at me like I'm crazy. And then sometimes I believe the thought, and I'm like, well, look, I'm a woman. I don't want to be a man. But I'm just saying, let's think about this. My aunt to say it, they hear you, but it just glosses over. So now that I am growing, I'm starting to understand, oh, yeah, all right, it's okay. I don't need to make it clear to them.
Right.
But for me, it just keeps blowing my mind. Like, I'm going to tell you real quick. My husband, his daughter took that DNA, 23andMe, right? So when I met my husband, he has a large extended family. Now, seemingly everyone gets along, and I like his family better than I like mine. But come to find out recently, which was in the back of my mind, but I didn't pay attention, there's several brothers and sisters. Several of the sisters they're all from the same mother, but they have different fathers, right? Well, my husband always thought that he was a full-blown Irish American. Come to find out, he and his brother Michael, who looked the most alike out of all his family, had a different father that no one knew about. His mother was married to the father that he thought was his father, but left his mother and always felt a disconnect. But anyway, the point is, when that happened, I was like, Rob, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you now? So everybody was like, oh, my God. He discovered he has a new father, a different father, and new brothers and sisters. And I said, now, how would your mother hold that, never tell you that secret? I said, but yet you grew up thinking that your father, Charlie, let's just say, was estranged from you. I said, can you imagine how that affected your life? And then you had another stepfather, this is crazy, Papa Hooley, who was married to your mother. That's still not your father. You thought he was the man in your life and that he was a better father than. I said, can you imagine your whole life has just been changed? All the feelings, all the things that I said, and then you guys are still sitting there saying that your supposedly real father was an alcoholic. I said, what about your mother? I said, she was married to both of these, to your father and had 2 children illegitimately. I said, and then your father left. I said, so does that change the whole story? I said, it's not that we want to be mean. I said, you deal with me all the time. I said, but we can't help it. We're conniving. We think that way. Please, I was hell on wheels. The first time I called you, you put me in my place. So, yeah.
What
so
a mess.
They just look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you hold a secret like that? You know what I'm saying?
I hear it all the time. These mothers are doing that to the children.
Now that we have TikTok, all you see, I'm going to get off the phone.
Yeah, I got to run here.
I know. But all you see is these stories of these guys who thought children were theirs and they weren't theirs. That's a loving person. That's a straight up person.
Yeah.
Come on. But anyway, I love you, Jesse. I love your crew.
Thank you.
I love everything about you. And talk to you soon.
Call me again. It's good to hear from you. Thank you.
Nice to talk to you. Bye.
All right. She's right. 888-775-3773. Let me go to a first-time caller, Grace, out of Rhode Island. Grace, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. How are you doing?
All is well, Grace. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So I'm 20 years old, and there's been something going on in my family for the past 5 years that I wanted to kind of lay out for you and then kind of ask you if I was on the right track.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm only 20, right? So 5 years ago, I was about 15, going to high school. I was very alienated. And my dad, who I'd been kind of alienated from, I didn't really talk to most people in my family. I just went to school, then went to my room, right? My dad reached out to me, and he told me he had realized that my mom was sort of abusing me by sort of lying to him that I was like a brat, and then lying to me that he was sort of abusive. And so he was like, actually, you're a nice girl. I'm his oldest daughter. And he was like, we got to fix this in the family, right? So my mom, once we brought this to her attention, and things were also tough in their relationship, but once we brought this to her attention, she got very, very angry and sort of embarrassed. I think that she had been found out, and she accused me of having a sexual relationship with my dad and sort of stealing her husband. Yes. She kind of turned, I'm the oldest daughter, right? I was only 15, maybe 16 at the time that we brought it to her, but she kind of turned me into the other woman, right? And so I was really, really, really hurt by that. And I kind of got very scared of life. And so I clung on to my dad really, really tight. And I was very afraid, and I was watching TV with him all the time, and I stopped going to school as much. It just freaked me out, right? But I was also very, very angry at my mom because I knew that she knew that that wasn't true, right? I knew that she was upset, but sort of at her life situation. She didn't really think that me and my dad were doing this crazy thing.
Right.
And I thought she was kind of choosing to lie to protect herself. And so I was very angry at her because I was like, how could you do this to me? I'm your own daughter, just tell the truth and we can be friends. I'm not angry at you for, turning on me like this, but I want you to come to the truth. I want you to be honest with me instead of hiding behind this terrible lie, right? So since then, for like the past 4 or 5 years, I have been sort of taking out that anger that I had at my mom on my dad, but always apologizing and always sort of saying, like, I'm sorry, I'm not mad at you. You know, he's been there to sort of like try to help me get through it. But, you know, it's sort of like damaged my relationship with him a bit because it's like, you know, he's so used to me sort of lashing out or being irrational because I'm angry at her.
Right.
And I'm almost done, but about 10 days ago, I realized that, you know, it was very toxic for me to talk to her in any way, that I was sort of her supply. And when I talk to her, she treats me very badly and is cold, but she knows that I'll come back because I kind of want to change her mind and I want her to tell me that she loves me, but she won't say that. And so I forgave her. I texted her that I forgave her. I'm not sure if that was the right way. But now I live with my dad, and we're on our own. And I guess my question is, like, because of the sort of the patterns of me taking out my anger at my mother, even though I think I've gotten over that at this point, do you think I'm taking it too far and putting too much pressure on my relationship with my dad at this point? Like, kind of taking, like, returning to the father too far? Or do you think I'm kind of on the right track and I should be, like, confident and be reassured that no matter what the problems are, I have, like, a good relationship with him and just kind of try to move forward? I know it's a lot. Sorry.
One thing I really encourage you to do, and you say you call your mother, or you wrote her and forgave her, wrote a letter.
I texted her. Yeah. So
you texted her. Are you able to FaceTime with her?
I am. Yes.
I would.
But
what? But what?
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's a good idea for me to contact her at all, because what she does is, I think that she is sort of addicted to abusing me. And so what she'll do is she'll give me, like, she'll breadcrumb, she'll give me a little bit of emotional intimacy, and then she'll be very, very cold towards me. And I just don't think it's healthy for me to engage with that at all, because it sort of keeps me in this loop where I keep going back to her to ask for her approval or ask for her love.
I understand.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. So here's what I recommend. You don't do it just because I'm telling you. Wait until you can see it for yourself. But you should FaceTime with her, shaking your boot, and just say, you know what? I'm sorry for resenting you. I realize you can't help. You know how you can't help but give your father a hard time? You find yourself yelling or whatever you do, and it's something else driving you to make you do that. It's not you. It's in the mind and emotion. Well, that same spirit is in your mother, and she cannot help herself. She's evil. And it's not her, but the nature of evil that's in her. And it's driving her psychologically and emotionally to make her do that, to be that way. So you should apologize for resenting her and be done with her. Then you can walk away. You can walk away and not look back. And, you know, because she doesn't have love to give. She only has hate. And so once you say, I'm sorry for resenting you, expecting nothing from her, no expectation, then forgive your father for not being able to protect you from that. Then you would love your father in the right way. It won't be emotional. And that's what it means to return to the father, forgive him for his weakness as well. He wasn't able to protect you from her. And God will forgive you, and your whole life will change by itself. You can't change it. It will naturally change. Are you doing the silent prayer?
No.
Well, are you aware of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it on your show.
Well, do the silent prayer so the light of God will separate you from the imagination, and then you would naturally love your father in the right way. You can't make that happen. It will happen naturally. But don't resent your mother because she can't help herself, but stay away from her. You got to don't let her seduce you back into evil.
But, so I just have a question. Why do you think I should FaceTime her? Because I did text her like a long sort of like explanation of what I think has been happening. And I said, I was wrong to be angry at you. I don't judge you. but I don't think it's a good idea for me to keep interacting with you.
If you don't see,
why
do you see that you forgave her when you did it that way?
I do think I did. Yes, I meant it 100% sincerely, and she didn't respond to it at all.
Oh,
So
she did not. Oh, okay.
I think I got my answer.
Well, if you truly see for yourself that you forgave her, then you don't have to do it. But, if you're afraid that she's going to pull you back into her hell, then I would recommend you FaceTime. Don't go in person, but FaceTime, because I don't want her to hurt you in a physical way. But if you...
It's not so much that I'm afraid that she's going to pull me back into her hell, because I did do that for a while, but I really feel like I'm not, there's nothing, I don't want anything from her. I don't think she has anything to give me. So I'm not tempted by that. Yeah.
Well,
my
move
question
on.
is sort of but my question about moving on is sort of is it okay, even though we have this past history, for me to sort of double down on living with my dad, working with him? I've always wanted to do that, but this thing with my mom has sort of driven me crazy for the past 4 years. And I understand that maybe should I give him some space and leave him alone and get myself together? Or should I double down and be with him?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
No, don't double down to be with him. You need to work on you. And then you will...
Okay.
Yeah, you need to work on you, because he doesn't have it either, to be honest with you. He doesn't have the love to give you. It's just that you should love him by not resenting him. And then just work on you. I recommend you start doing the silent prayer so you can stay present in the moment instead of in the so-called past or future. You want to stay present, and the light will guide you into how to deal with your father. Because I don't know what you mean by double down. What do you mean by double down?
I kind of mean I have a lot commit to saying okay, I can move on from my mom, and now I can have a healthy relationship with him.
Right.
I guess the other question that's always in my head is, should I just leave him alone maybe for a year and get myself together? But honestly, I am terrified of that, because I don't think I would do well on my own. I don't think women in general do well not connected to any man of any sort. Me living on my own, I think, would be a disaster.
Oh, no,
and
do not live on your own. No, don't live on your own at this point. Stay with your father. But don't try to... Well, stay with your father. Let me keep it simple. Stay with your father and just work on you. Go to work, do the silent prayer, watch the thoughts, and when it's time to move, you will see when to do it, and you will have no fear, you will have no doubt, and no worry. But don't do it. Do not move at this point.
Okay. Okay.
You're just 20.
Because a lot of people tell me that, because you can understand, since this has been going on since I was 15.
Right.
Sometimes I have a lot of anxiety, so sometimes I'll even go into his room and put a blow-up mattress on the floor and sleep with him, in the room.
Right.
Because sometimes I'm nervous of staying by myself. And a lot of people, because I'm a streamer on YouTube, I'm a public I've been going through this publicly. And a lot of people tell me, that's not healthy. You need to get away from him. You need to find your own space. But I just feel if I know one thing, it's that I know that he has helped me figure out what's going on with my mom. And I need to stay connected to him, because he can guide me, because otherwise I'm lost.
Absolutely.
But I'm a nice girl, but I'll be lost.
Right. And knowing that, you're going to be fine. No, you're doing fine with your father. Stay with your father. Do the silent prayer. If you sleep on the floor on the air mattress, that's fine too. But work on you and work on you. And I promise you, if you do the silent prayer, watch the thoughts, you have questions for your father, talk about real things with him, and your life will unfold by itself. All fear will be taken away from you. You will be made free, and you'll see the next thing to do. But you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I really appreciate that.
And the fact that you can see that you have this fear, you can see your relationship with your father, you're doing fine. God is with you. Just stay with do the silent prayer morning and night, and relax, and all this fear and everything will be taken away from you. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
But stay with your father for now.
Okay, I will. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It calms me down a lot.
All right, let me know how it goes, okay?
Okay, I will.
All right,
Bye.
Start the prayer, though. Start doing the silent prayer.
I will. I promise you, I will.
Okay, take care.
Amazing.
Amazing. Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer, folks. Rebuildingtheman.com/prayer. I'll get you a super chat tomorrow. That was a deep call. It was everybody in the world. All right. The Hake report is coming up now from 9 to 11. Listen, folks, as Hassan and I was talking about, this road, straight and narrow road, you're going to understand why it's so narrow and straight. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Do the silent prayer and watch. And don't let anyone take you off this pathway. All right? You'll be fine. Lee is the first time call out of Arkansas. Russ out of Hampton. Grant out of UK. Somebody just calling in. And Matt just hung up a first time caller out of somewhere. I'll be back tomorrow. The Lord is willing and the creek will rise. Do the prayer, folks. Forgive. Work on yourself. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good day.
Joel Friday here. Look, stand up. Stand up, we got fighting to do. We gotta show him who boss. He put a Viking in you. He put that lightning in you. Igniting the truth. But you beg and blame and lie and hate and never wanna stand for the truth. So what you planning to do? You understanding the lose. You better go talk to your mama. Better stop all the drama. Better drop all the trauma. Boy, you better stand up and up. Put your hand up and hut. Cause if we don't, then we lose. And then we gotta hear the fake news. Whoa.
Know thyself so you can something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause you must know thyself so you can something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. but it's amazing to see it. So relax.